What's going on, caffeinated crew? Just wanted to take a second to tell you about Church of Hardcore happening August 21st in Pointe-à-Cher, Quebec. It's featuring some of the best local bands from the area, such as Scarfold, Northwalk, Soul Thief, and many others. At checkout, use the discount code BEANS for a limited number of tickets, and you will get an exclusive listener discount. So pick yours up now.
Welcome to Beans and Breakdowns, a podcast dedicated to bridging the gap between specialty coffee and the heavy music community. On this episode, I'm joined by John Vaughan, bassist of the band Spaced. He also is manager for a coffee shop in the Buffalo, New York area called Overwinter. So grab a fresh cup of coffee and wake the fuck up!
What's going on, caffeinated crew? Today on the podcast, I'm joined by John. He's the bassist of the band Spaced. He also works in the coffee industry. John, how's it going this morning?
I'm great. How are you?
I am great. I'm loving your backdrop. Lots of vintage.
Thanks.
Is the Star Wars figurines.
Yep. So many. Yeah.
Amazing. Well, let's talk about some coffee. We'll talk about some music, some hardcore later on. But what are you drinking?
It's an Overwinter coffee. So all of our coffees we just give fun names to, so they could be a little more identifiable to the non established coffee brain. So this one's called the Blueberry. It's a Ethiopian anaerobic processed coffee, and we don't have it anymore. But before it went extinct, air quotes. I bought a 5-pound bag. So and then we also, for a little while, we offered these airtight canisters from Airscape with our logo engraved on them. So and they hold like a pound of coffee each. So I put 2 of the pounds in there, and the other 3, I just cranked out cold brew at home with. Yeah. So that was what I was doing. But this is, I just ran out of, I bought a seasonal blend from Ruby, and I killed that this morning. So this is cup number 2.
Nice.
The Blueberry.
Man, I've looked into Ruby a bit. Unfortunately, I can't get a lot of coffees from the U.S. that are hyped. Like Onyx is really hard to ship, and I'm a big Onyx fan.
Yeah.
But whenever I travel to the States and I go exploring, I always try to bring back a few interesting bags. Unfortunately, Ruby hasn't been one. But I know that in the scene, air quotes, the Ruby has gotten a lot of clout recently. So
yeah, dude, they're great. They also started doing some instant coffee pouches or something like that. My friend Jay was telling me about them, but yeah, I have a little coffee crew that expands outside of my work. And whenever someone orders from somewhere, we all chime in. We're like, hey, let's just do a bulk order, because it usually saves on shipping.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's sick. I need to find some people like that here that'll help pay the duties and customs fees.
Yeah.
I'm drinking a coffee from Goshen today by way of Anthony, who has been on the podcast. So thanks a lot, Anthony, if you're listening. This is a seasonal roast. It's a Papua New Guinea Baroida Estate. I hope I'm not butchering that pronunciation, but he explained it to me. They did 3 different processes at this farm. And they had they did a washed from this estate separately because it was very good. But then they took one and blended 3 different processes together. So it's a washed, a fermented, and a natural, if I'm not mistaken.
That's awesome.
It's a wild cup of coffee.
It sounds it.
I'm having trouble even identifying some of these complexities, but it really tastes like a dessert, almost like a banana with some caramelization flavor, kind of vanilla-y. They have Banana Foster on here, which I guess would fit that description.
Yeah.
So some cherry in there.
Nice, dude. Yeah, Papua New Guinea coffees are great. I love them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're few and far between, I feel.
Mhm.
But when you get a quality Papua New Guinea, it's definitely like a noteworthy cup. Yeah. So cheers to you. Cheers to the coffee. Clink. So I know we mentioned earlier you working with Overwinter and being a part of the coffee community there. What are some things that you're doing currently? And I guess what are some goals that you're kind of working towards being in the coffee industry?
Let's see. Currently, I've just been doing a lot of like weird promotional ideas, as well as making sure everyone gets paid, because I do payroll. So I got to do it tomorrow, so everyone will get paid tomorrow. But so like I said earlier, we give all of our coffees like fun names, and like what I've been doing lately is I've been our labels usually were just gray, and they had like the coffee name, origin, and tasting notes, along with like the roast date stamped on it. And it was just gray. It was a black bag with a gray label with our Arctic Fox logo on it. But I was like, this just seems really bland. So I started printing so like we have our Fox label that goes on the bag first, and then there's the coffee label. And I've been getting the coffee labels printed in different colors associated with tasting notes. So, but the one that we haven't done yet, because I've just been putting it off for a while, is there's a ever-growing list of coffee names, and the one that I came up with was the dealer's choice. And I was like, okay, but let's have it. I was talking to my one boss, Ben, about it for a little while, and we decided that we should just put one of our random, because we have 5 roasts at a time. We were going to put one of those roasts randomly in the bag, slap the dealer's choice label on it, and just say, like, instead of a country, it's like, this coffee is from Overwinter. You'll taste notes of whatever you could pick up. And we were just going to sell it. And then like, if someone liked it, then I was going to like get a silver Sharpie and mark the bottom of the bag. And so like we knew what we filled them with. And then if someone brought it back, we could explain what coffee it was. But just like silly things like that. And like, I bought a green screen for work, so we've just been making dumb videos and stuff. It's been fun. It's been really fun. My bosses are always like, yeah, just do whatever you think is right, but don't mess up. And I love the freedom they give me, but they also like definitely keep me in check, not being in the state of New York.
Right.
So, yeah.
But at least you're not micromanaged.
Oh, yeah, yeah. And yeah, they do a great job about it. They're just kind of like, yeah, just hit us up whenever you need help. And I'm like, that's you cool. Guys are great. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I took a look at the website for Overwinter, and I was like, oh, it's like a bunch of blends. And then looking at the labels, it's only single origins.
Yep.
So I was really happy about that. And I think it's very cool that you guys are doing like naming the different roasts to make it more accessible and maybe a little bit less pretentious or maybe not pretentious, but less intimidating for people outside, like you said, of the coffee world. It really gets people, oh, I like the daylight blend. And you can be like, oh, well, let me tell you the story of this coffee. And then it gets people a little more invested. Very cool.
Yeah, that's exactly what we aim to achieve. Because like so like the two guys are Ben and Josh. Josh is the business guy. Ben is the coffee. I mean, Josh knows a lot about coffee and loves coffee. But Ben, when they were both in New York and opened the cafes together, Ben was the roaster. Josh was the business guy. So Ben used to work at a local chain around Buffalo called Spot Coffee. And then he moved to DC for a little while and worked at some place that started with a P, and I forget. But he like, grew up and was like formed by the coffee industry and realized what he hated about it and what he really liked about it. And one of those things was to just not be a pretentious asshole about coffee. Cause like everyone definitely was there at one point in their life. But once you recognize that like coffee's for everyone, just like, music is for everyone or whatever, you just kind of like let it go and you just want everyone to be happy.
Right. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I mean, I say it all the time. Don't be an elitist about something that really you rely on people to be invested in to make it better. So
yeah,
like, the more people who are involved in knowing about coffee and getting like quality specialty coffee from, reliable sources and stuff, the more people invested in that, the better that industry can become because it's more economically sustainable. So why would you try to push people away by being like a knowledge hoarder?
I know.
And making people feel like shit. Like, that's not cool.
No, it's not cool.
But I know a lot of us, me included, have been guilty at one time or another being an asshole and giving like the elitist like chuckle at people who order a caramel cold brew.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. And I was definitely there, but I was there before I started working in coffee. So like, I guess like my coffee origin story is that my freshman and sophomore year of college, I just drank way too much shitty Tim Hortons because that was what was on campus. And at one point I just realized like this does not have any effect on me whatsoever. Mm-hmm. And I was just also like drowning it in cream and sugar. So like nothing wrong with that. Enjoy your coffee how you want to, but
right.
Like physically bad for me. And so like my junior and senior year, I just didn't drink coffee. I was like, I'm only just going to drink tea and water, and that's what I was going to live on. And then after I graduated, my friend Charlie, who I play in another band with called Post Prom, my family has a cabin in Chautauqua County that we built like in the early 2000s, and that's where Post Prom goes to do pre-production stuff. And he made me a pour over of a Kenyan from Detour. Shout out Canada. And I remember sipping it and just screaming like, holy shit, like this is coffee can taste like this. And then, so Charlie got me into like third wave coffee culture and all that good stuff. So that ever since then, I was like, I got to figure this out. I got to do this at home. And then I started doing French press at home, and I realized it wasn't phenomenal. And then like I got some coffee gear for pour over stuff. And then Sydney, who I mentioned earlier, she was at the time there was just one coffee shop, one Overwinter downtown. Mm-hmm. And I'd go there every now and then with Charlie because it was down the street from where we practiced. And jokingly one day I was like, hey, are you guys hiring? And she goes, yeah, if you just submit your application, I will tell my bosses to hire you. And I was like, oh, you got to be kidding me. And now like I manage a cafe and help run it with her. So I kind of owe Sydney my life at this point. But in that in between time of figuring out how to make coffee at home and before getting hired, that was where I was a coffee asshole. Because yeah. And then I started working there, and then I like began to learn that like I shouldn't be, because I want everyone to have it. So
right.
Yeah.
And that's, I know like a lot of people can be that way where you're like a hobbyist, quote unquote, where you become like, you start rabbit holing and become like the coffee connoisseur. And then it's like, people are like using words that are not within the coffee world. And then you kind of scoff at them and be like, that's not a real flavor. And then
I know
it's terrible.
Yeah.
But I mean, we all have our journey, which is fine. And shouts out to Tim Hortons. But like anti shout out because
yeah.
like, I'm not like, I don't like judging people at all about like coffee or anything. Like everybody has their own flavor, but I know people that do drink lots of Tim Hortons with lots of like double, and I've had a few and they're very hard to drink.
They're hard to drink. You can slam them sometimes. If you just like need it, you could just like toss it back because it's usually room temperature, and and then it's just then you're set for the day. And I also learned that double is like a uniquely like Buffalo, Western New York, and Canadian term. Like if you go anywhere else and you're like, hey, double, they'll look at you with the most confused look on your face.
So like if you go to Tim Hortons in Ohio and order a double, they won't know what to give you?
You know what? Maybe Ohio. I've never gone to a Tim Hortons in Ohio.
Okay. Because it's kind of neighbored, right?
That's correct. Yeah. I forgot about that. I forgot about Ohio.
Maybe it's just that Lake Erie area.
You know,
Lake
it might be.
Lake Erie.
Yeah.
Not to pigeonhole anybody, because in Montreal you can order a double and they know exactly what to give you.
Okay.
But that's obviously because we're in Canada as well. But yeah, I've had my fair share of Timmy's. But shouts out to Charlie for getting you on the path of righteousness.
And now I hired Charlie like 3 weeks ago, so now he works for me at Overwinter. So it's
That's
been
nice.
great. Yeah.
Yeah. One hand washes the other there. That's
Yep.
That's awesome. I definitely think you should do the mystery bags because when you're describing it to me, to go back to the Overwinter mystery dealer's choice, all I can think about is the Laffy Taffy that was in the white.
The white, yes.
With
oh my
gosh. the mystery flavor.
It was always cherry.
It was always cherry, white cherry,
Yeah.
which is not a real thing in life. But
Yeah.
what is this flavor? It's definitely cherry. I don't know what other flavor that could be.
I know.
Yeah, but you should definitely make it so 90s looking,
Oh yeah, it's a black label with teal and white question marks in the background.
Beautiful.
They're printed. The labels are printed. I just gotta send it and put it together. But my coworkers and I made a very, very stupid breaking news the dealer's choice is, and it's, oh my god, it's awful.
Yeah.
So that's gonna be our promotion video for it.
Oh man, I'm excited to see that. I hope it gets good reception and that it kind of blows some people's mind where they kind of journey away from I want my Brazilian semi-dark roast, which is fine. But
yeah.
Try this other weird coffee and experience something different. It's great.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's awesome. I have a question for you. I don't know how it's going to be received.
Okay.
But it kind of goes off of your Instagram handle.
Which one?
Who's your favorite Iron Chef?
Iron Chef. What's my Instagram handle? Oh, why use big word?
Yeah.
Oh, that's an Office reference.
Yeah. So who's your favorite Iron Chef?
I don't know.
Come on. You know what it's. So this is how I wanted to see if it was, because why use big word when small word work better?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so in season, when Robert California is the CEO.
Okay.
Andy comes in, he calls Andy in one day, and Andy goes in and goes, "Who's your favorite Iron Chef?" And then Robert California is talking about it, and he's like, "And you can't have a favorite Iron Chef. It all depends on the secret ingredient." Sometimes I don't think you know food at all.
Holy shit! That's awesome.
I was hoping you were, because my wife and I were like, I think he's an Office fan. Why use big word when small word work better?
I am a big Office fan. Those minute things are just sometimes they obviously just go right over.
Yeah, I know. If somebody,
yeah, Kevin is my favorite character. And so yeah. Oh my god.
Do you have a favorite? And I'm sure it's not the chili moment, because if it was, I don't know if you would be a true Kevin fan. But what's your favorite Kevin moment?
When they had to move the office onto the bus because Dwight found radiation poison or something, and they made Dwight sad. So they're like, "Oh, we'll just get a bunch of mini cupcakes." And Kevin goes, "Mini cupcakes? The already miniature version of a cupcake, which is already a miniature version of a cake? What is wrong with you people?" Or how he can instantaneousally do accounting math when it's related to candy or
but
food.
It's just pies.
Yeah, it's just pies. It is.
What if it's salads? It doesn't work.
Yeah. Oh my god. He's or the chunky lemon milk when Andy comes back. He's like, "I've been secretly drinking Andy's milk for the past 3 months. So I had to say goodbye, chunky lemon milk." And
it's clearly spoiled.
Oh my god.
Clearly spoiled milk.
Oh my god.
Oh yes. Okay, good. I was hoping that there was that was an Office reference. I don't know how it couldn't be.
Oh yeah.
I'm sorry to throw you with the Iron Chef. I asked that to so many people.
Okay.
when they say something about how they're an Office fan, I'm like, "Who's your favorite Iron Chef?" It works 3 out of 10 times.
Oh my god. That's great. Do you drink coffee out of that mug every day? Is that like your everyday mug, or do you rotate mugs?
I actually don't like this mug. My other regular drivers are dirty, and I was too lazy to wash it because
Gotcha.
I was running low on time. Are
That's
you one of
fine.
those people too, where you have like a tactile drinking mug? Is that your mug?
Same mug every day.
Yeah.
I wish I never heard of Oxford Pennant is on there.
That mug shape is the identical. It's the old school diner mug shape to mine, which is a counterculture 20th anniversary mug.
Oh man,
that I stole from the training facility in Charleston. They said we could have them, but it was like one dude was like just like discreetly, you know.
Yeah. Yep.
It was they did a grand opening when I was working for a counterculture shop. Some of my team drove up to Charleston from Savannah, and like their space was beautiful. They had like a La Marzocco Strata with the manual paddles.
Oh man.
Yeah, they had a whole brew bar in the back, like, and so we were like, "Can we have these mugs?" And they were like, "Just take."
Oh man.
But it's the same shape. If nobody's gonna be able to see it, but it's on your Instagram too. I saw some
probably.
Of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's basically just that old school like curved in concave diner mug shape. That
and it's thin. It's the thin one too. It's not like the chonky one. So like it holds a lot of coffee.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Mine's a chunky. It holds about, I'd say max it can hold 220 milliliters.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like a perfect cup size. This one is gigantic. I think it holds almost 400 milliliters, which I would never drink that in one sitting.
I usually go to like 365, and that holds it very well. So I'm guessing this like 400 would probably be like right across the top.
Right on this. It's going to be like convex from the surface tension where it's like,
yep,
drink me. I have a backup too. Do you have a backup?
Yeah, I do. It's a mug from my grandma's. Like when she passed and my uncle like took over her house, we just like were like, hey, take what you want to take. And I loved these mugs, so I took one of those. That's awesome. That's also my tea mug. That's like when I drink tea, that's a tea mug, coffee mug, but it's also my backup coffee mug.
That's great. I love like when your glassware, like something that you use very often, carries like a sentimental, like you kind of take a moment to like contemplate and meditate on memories or like a person or something like that. It's very special. And I love that like coffee and even tea and like little moments that we make in the day for ourselves when we can have something special to like kind of remind ourselves of that. It's really great that all that kind of links musically, coffee because of the smell, the taste, and then it connects those memories together. Let's talk a bit about Spaced.
Yeah. I love that band.
Me too. It's really, really great. It's great too, because like if you listen to the full thing and have your Spotify set, it will roll into like Spaced Radio.
Yeah.
Spaced Radio kicks ass.
Sweet.
Okay.
Glad to hear it.
Kicks ass. World of Pleasure came on. Like I was like,
oh, sweet.
I was doing something and then World of Pleasure came on. I'm like, this is the hardest like band with a female vocalist I think that's out right now. It's violent. Anyway, Spaced is a great band. You guys have a demo out, 2 songs, the 2 new joints. Greatest name for a single I've ever heard. So I guess walk me through. You guys have all new music released in 2021. You guys are relatively newer on the scene, or?
We haven't been a band for a year. Like the 1-year anniversary of us putting our demo out is when we play in Bristol, United Kingdom. And that is just, I know it's just, but like, I still don't fully understand it. It all happened so fast, and it's super cool. Like I was talking to my friends in Del Paxton. They're like a math emo band from Buffalo, and like they're just like, yeah, it either happens really fast and all at once, or it just doesn't happen at all. And it just happened really fast and all at once. Like me, Donnie, and Dan. So Dan drums, Donnie is our guitar player. Joe is our other rhythm, he's the lead guitar player, and Lexi is our vocalist, and I play bass. But me, Donnie, and Dan would just like get together like over the summer of 2020, maybe it was like early 2021, and we were just like hang in his basement and just like write riffs. And then Donnie used to tattoo, and so I think at one point he was tattooing Lexi, and he goes, "Hey Lexi, like, you like hardcore?" And Lexi's story is that they went and saw Have Heart at the Palladium, and that was like the spark for them that just was like, this is the coolest thing on the face of the planet, and I want to do more with it. So it was just like an idea that Lexi would front our band, and it just like came to be, and we would just like rip demos in Donnie's basement or garage or something, and then we just like, you know, put it out, and we weren't expecting nearly to like the extent of what has been happening to happen, and it's just been like, so.
Yeah, I mean, y'all have already played with like some pretty insane bills, I would say. Like, didn't y'all recently play with Spy and
Jive Bomb? MS Paint was on that show as well. They're super cool.
MS Paint?
Yes, MS Paint. Amazing.
That's a great band name.
Bass player, drummer, and keyboard and then the fourth member is their vocalist. Absolute insanity. They're super cool. Yeah. But yeah, that show is really cool in Baltimore.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then I know you guys coming up have like y'all's UK tour. I was looking at, I'm like, this is fucking crazy.
Yeah, it's like 16 shows in 17 days or something like that.
With Comeback Kid.
Yep.
Like Comeback Kid.
Yeah.
Which I saw them on their little Canadian run that they did with Boundaries, and they are still just as good as they were in 2007. Like,
yeah, they're playing Buffalo tonight. With Donnie's other band, Final Declaration.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to go, but we'll see what happens. Sorry to everybody if I don't go.
You should go. It's gonna be fun. Like, it's a fun show. When they kick into Wake the Dead, man, it's like just gang vocals, just everybody pile up, stomp on somebody's, face to get on the mic, and you gotta do it. But yeah, I'm super stoked looking at the dates. And then before that, there's a Canada run with like Pacific, which like that tour bill kind of threw me a bit.
Yeah, it was Lexi knows Jordan from like Pacific well enough where they were like just chatting about something, and a band went off of the touring package. I don't know what the circumstances were, but they so there was an opening, and Lexi messaged us one day and said, "Hey, silly little dream of mine. Do you guys want to play these shows with like Pacific?" And like, I was looking at the tour dates, and I was like, man, that'd be really tough for me to take off of work, because like the first half of the tour is someone is away, like out of town at the shop, and then and there'd be like 3 days in the middle where I could leave, but then like after that, Sydney goes out of town, so like I have to do all of her stuff when she's not there. So I was like, oh dude, like I don't know, like this would be really tough for me, but like I'm not saying no, but we got to figure it out. And then Donnie messaged me, because the dates are all very close to Buffalo, in the case that we can drive to Pittsburgh and then drive back the same night, so we could all go to work the next day, and then the show that night's in Buffalo,
right? And
then we have off the next day, and then we would just really need to go out of town for 2 days for the next 2 shows. And so when he laid it out like that, I was like, yeah, I found the coverage, like I called Sydney and we figured it out. And so that's going to be really exciting. They're a cool band. And it's really cool because it's like all pop punk bands, but we're the hardcore band on the pop punk bill.
And that's what
we'll like stand out.
Exactly. That's what I was going to mention. People that haven't branched off away from pop punk, you guys, I feel like, are a great introduction to like, hey, this is what like hardcore is like you'll have like a more hardcore punk sound. I feel like a more early hardcore sound. And so for a lot of people that aren't wanting to go full on tough guy hardcore, I feel like this is such a great introduction. So I hope that you guys get a lot of new fans, and that y'all make a lot of new hardcore fans, because I see that happening lots and lots, but less and less because of the lack of mixed bills that I feel like are currently happening.
Mixed bills are always the greatest thing ever. 'Cause I don't know. It's just like, oh, this is instead of saying like this is a, you know, a rap show or a hardcore show or a pop punk show or a whatever. It's just like just let everyone come together, because you may discover something that you didn't know that you would like until you experience it in a different, because like I never really thought that I would like hardcore, and then I went and I saw Every Time I Die at a really small venue in Buffalo, and I was like, whoa, this is like amazing. So like if you experience something for yourself live for the first time rather than hearing it recorded, or the recorded version, you know, you're more apt to like dive into it and understand it a bit more.
Yeah, 100%. I think that even like the underground nature of hardcore and a lot of the genres that surround it's kind of lost in a recorded version, unfortunately.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Because you don't so much get that energy that you get when you're at a show and you feel like the community, people together. It kind of sucks, but it's true. Like I'd much rather go to a hardcore show than listen to a hardcore album.
Yeah, I'm the same way. Like our rule in the van, whenever we go anywhere, is no hardcore in the van, because we're just going to be surrounded by it.
Yeah.
Like at all the shows that we play. So like Lexi loves K-pop, so it's a lot of K-pop. I fuck with Jimmy Eat World so much. So there's like Jimmy Eat World's Dan, you know, throw some AFI or you know, Blink in there. You know, it's like it's always great. It's nothing. The worst thing in the world is when you're playing a hardcore show and the in lieu music is more hardcore, if not harder music. You just get a headache.
Yeah.
It's like,
yeah,
it's tough.
Boundaries. We need to make boundaries.
Yep.
Yeah, I agree. You can overload yourself. Like, what is it? Like in your senses, you can have like a sensory overload if you're just completely like surrounding yourself with aggressive music all the time. That's why I always loved watching Audio Tree when they would do the interviews, and they would be like, so what's the playlist in the tour bus? And it's always some band that you'll never think of.
Yeah.
It's like a lot of A$AP Rocky.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's pretty fun. What are the future plans besides having kick-ass tours for the summer?
We're releasing some new music. I cannot remember if it's 3 or 4 songs, but I think we plan on dropping something right before we leave for the Lake Pacific run. And then those songs will go out through New Morality Zine. And then I think we just plan on writing a bunch more, and, you know, just writing more music. And Lexi is still in school, so like their availability to tour is not as, you know, free as everybody else's sometimes. So it's can be a blessing and a curse, but also like just fine, because we can just like, we know like in this stint of time when Lexi can't take off, we just like write, you know?
Yeah.
And then when Lexi goes, yeah, I have off this weekend, we're like, all right, let's plan some shows for this weekend. So yeah, we're just going to write a bunch more music, I think. And just tour a lot.
And you're also in, I know that your other project is
Prom.
Post-prom, yes.
Post-prom, yeah.
I'm so sorry. I totally blanked on that. Are y'all busy doing anything like tour-wise, music-wise coming up?
We have a show on July 8th. So like 3 days after I get back from that Lake Pacific run, I play a show with Post-Prom. But I think we're going to start writing new music. Charlie is in that band, and he's a ski instructor. So during the winter, he's just like MIA, because he's teaching ski lessons like 6 days a week or something crazy like that. So, and then our friend Aiden, who will actually be joining us on those 3 Canadian shows, he helps TM with this band called Super American. So like he was gone when Charlie was like resurfacing. Aiden left, and now we're all like available right now. So we're finally getting back to like jamming, and it's been a lot of fun.
Nice.
So probably definitely new music, working on new music soon. But yeah, it's been a ton of fun.
I really like the sound of Post Prom. It reminds me of that not neo grunge, but more like that early Citizen stuff, where it was kind of like,
oh, cool,
not like pop punk, but like pop punk adjacent.
Yep, I
like
get what you're saying.
Sad boy slacker rock, I guess is what it is.
Yeah.
So I really miss that era, because that was like when I was kind of getting out of college. That was what I was listening to a lot of, that early Turnover and Citizen and stuff like that. So I really do like listening. I love the aesthetic of it, like that basement look and stuff like that. Like, and that's why I'm super stoked, is because I feel like bands like Post Prom could fit on a bill with Spaced and fit on a bill with even heavier acts. So promoters, please listen to musicians and book.
Mixed bills.
Please. Stop putting the same 5 metalcore sounding bands on one bill. It's not working, please.
Nope.
Thank you. Well, John, this has been a lot of fun. I have one question for you before we go.
Yeah.
What's your favorite city for Beans and Breakdowns?
Oh man. When Brooklyn was always really cool, because there's a lot of really small coffee shops, and the shows that we play there have always been great. But when we were just in Rhode Island this past weekend, the show, like, we went to Providence Place Mall or something like that, and our friends in Ankle Biter were like, hey, let's like meet at this coffee shop that's near. The show was outside of Providence. I forget the name of the town, but it was at a farm. And we were going to go there for coffee, but it closed. So I was like, damn it. Like, and that weekend I had not have like good coffee, air quotes again, good coffee. It was just like really quick Dunkin' runs, which, you know, it's fine. I got the bean juice in my bloodstream, but we stopped at this small coffee shop in Providence called The Shop.
Okay.
And it was great. Yeah, I just got a ice red eye. That's my favorite drink, by the way. Ice red eye is just like, it gets you going. It's my get shit done drink. But that was so good. And then the show was awesome too. So yeah, either Brooklyn or Rhode Island. I know Rhode Island, it is not a city, but it's a state. And
it's a little one, you know.
It's the smallest one. Yeah. My sister grew up. My older sister grew up in Rhode Island, so like my dad and I would always take that drive to like go pick her up and then bring her back to Buffalo. Or Memorial Day, they always had a big like carnival, so we'd always go over. I don't know if it's up, down, or over, but we'd go there. So Rhode Island's cool.
Well, John, thank you so much for hanging out. I really appreciate it. I'm super stoked to see what you guys do this year. Those tours are going to be really awesome. Best of luck, man. Like, this has been a great time.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks. I had a lot of fun. I love talking about coffee. So
yes, likewise. All right, well, take care.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Beans and Breakdowns. I want to say a huge thanks to John for hanging out on the podcast, talking all about Spaced and nerding out about some coffee. I think it was a great chat. Be sure to check out Spaced Music on all listening platforms. Follow them on Instagram and check them out if they're coming to a city near you. If you've enjoyed this episode of the podcast, please subscribe and leave a review. You can also find out more information about the podcast by following us on Instagram at Beans and Breakdowns, or on the web at beansandbreakdowns.com. Until next week, be sure to stay caffeinated and wake the fuck up.